My first roll of Ultramax 400 was fucking hideous. But the second roll, that's when it got interesting. I shot my first roll of Ultramax 400 months ago, like 6 months ago. I processed it and fuck, it was shit. There was most of the photos were either overexposed or underexposed. There were weird light patches all over everything. It was frankly bad, except for some photos. They were bangers, just like this one. This photo was converted using the Cinestill preset that they are giving out. But anyways, looking at this photo and some of the other ones, it got me thinking, what the fuck happened to the rest of the photos? There might be light leak on my camera, there might be some problems with the shutter, or frankly I could have fucked up the metering. And knowing my skills, I probably fucked up the metering. And that led me to not use Ultramax for months. I was like, fuck, I don't want to use this film right now, and I was like frankly disappointed. But just like how Grindelwald and Dumbledore had to meet eventually, I picked up the Ultramax and I said, fuck it. I shot some panoramic photos with this. This was interesting because all the photos turned out to be fucking bangers. Out of, this is panoramic, so instead of 36, I got like around 20 photos. Out of those 20, I fuck with 17 of them. That is like a very, very, very high yield for me. While I was shooting these panoramic photos, I did something that I never do. Wake up super early. Here's my 2 cents. If you want to take like blue hour or golden hour photos, just do it in the evening. But I was a naive fool. I woke up at the crack of the dawn. Not gonna lie, I was pretty groggy. But boy was it beautiful. It was very quiet and the birds were doing their beatboxing or whatever the hell that they tend to do. So anyways, I started blasting. I put the camera on a tripod and took this photo. Not bad. I was being a goody two-shoes and followed the crap out of rule of thirds. And Ultramax killed it with the blue tones. The sky is slightly warm and the shadow is very clean. For 400 ISO film, this film is really clean. The sun was getting up, so I walked up to this little stadium that my university has. Here's the first photo that I took as the sun was barely hitting the top of the stadium. I think I exposed for the shadows and there is a lot of details and the highlights aren't clipping. I took another photo of the same scene, just a little closer, and the sun was up a little more. I frankly don't know which one I prefer more. The first one, there's a lot of things happening in the frame which does add context and much needed detail to the photo, but the second shot is much cleaner in my opinion. Moving on, I saw this equipment shed, I believe it's called, and I took a picture of it. It has a warm glow of the sunrise. The complementary orange and green colors balance the frame, and the curves, they look amazing. Before I say anything else, if you want to buy this film, I'll leave a link below the subscribe button to subscribe. It is not an affiliated link because I do not know how to do that shit. And I don't have time to figure it out just yet, but it is the best price I could find online, so feel free. Moving on. I think every properly exposed photos from this film was very easy to work with, and it had enough latitude and the colors were rendered perfectly. I camera scan all my photos and use Negative Lab Pro to convert them and then use Lightroom to edit the photos. All the TIFF files were very easy to work with in Lightroom, and I could like bring down the highlights by quite a lot and still retain a lot of details. This shot of the sunrise really shows the latitude of this film. I had the camera pointed directly at the sun, but still there is detail in that area surrounding the sun. The sky looks nice and the shadows are just phenomenal. There is so much going on with this photo, but It is one of my favorite photos that I took that day. The complementary colors, the warm sunrise tone, and all the lines leading to this gentleman in the middle of the frame, who also acts like a sense of scale to this photo. I think if he wasn't in the photo, this photo would be very boring. It would be more boring than the movie Waterworld. This film is 400 ISO, so it can handle most light conditions, but I will still carry my tripod for like late blue hour shots, or even for like sunset or like early sunrises. I was able to snag this shot handheld. I think it was 1x15 or 1x8, but I would not run and gun 1x8. The third roll, it slapped. It slapped harder than Will Smith. The first shot was this portrait of my friend. The film rendered the colors nicely. I exposed for the shadows, so the colors are nice and pastel. I shot half of this roll and saved the other 15-ish shots for later, as I was tasting Kodak Gold at the moment. So I pulled this roll out with 15 shots left and went on an evening walk around my small middle of nowhere town. And this is where I took my current favorite photo. There was this abandoned baby chair thingy that was overtaken by nature. It was almost like Bulbasaur was trying to strangle this chair. I love how this film rendered the greens and made the shadow a little purple. I finally understand why YouTubers like Grainydays and Bad Flashes are a hoe for abandoned stuff. They do tend to give photos a nice character, and I'm here for it. As I was walking, I saw something really cool. There was this vintage Chevrolet pickup. I do not know what model this is. This thing was just beautiful, and I'm glad this film did it justice. The warm glow of the hour was just perfect. It had nice pastel tone while having a lot of detail in the highlight. I took another photo of this car, this time framing it in between two trees, and it's absolutely beautiful. I think I'll put it in my portfolio. Ultramax 400 was a weird fucking film to me. It seems to work at any time of the day and any type of light. It was amazing for the price. It's slightly cheaper than Portra 400. It probably does not have as big of a latitude as Portra 400, but it is still very respectable. I will say don't over or underexpose this film by like quite a lot, but that is just a common sense and most people should know that anyways. I just think my first roll was a mistake from my part on metering the photos. While I was scanning these photos, I grew curious about the new Fuji 400 that they are selling in the United States that people say is Kodak Ultramax 400 but in Fuji package. So I'm like, because it's currently slightly cheaper than Ultramax 400 at Walmart and other places, I would definitely give that film a shot and make another video about this film as well. But everything aside, Ultramax 400 is definitely worth the price. I know film is like getting expensive, but this film is kind of nice and I would definitely try this film again. And thank you so much for watching this video. Keep shooting photos, like, share, and subscribe. And do leave a weird comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.